To be perfectly honest, I wasn't expecting this movie for quite some time. When I was researching online at the beginning of the year about upcoming movies and TV shows to expect in 2025, I saw that Netflix was adapting a Roald Dahl classic, The Twits. Because there was so little information and Netflix does tend to enjoy a Christmas time release, that's when I thought I'd see more information on it. Instead, we got a trailer not too long back, and it's coming out on the 17th of October. I appreciate that we don't have to wait too long between trailers and the actual release with Netflix, but this is a bit ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, 10 days between the trailer and the release? You're not exactly giving much time for people to realize the movie exists. Nevertheless, I do enjoy a brand new animated Netflix movie, so I suppose I shouldn't complain too much. A Roald Dahl adaptation, no less. Fingers crossed it's a good one, although now that I come to think of it, I can't really remember a bad adaptation of a Roald Dahl book. That's got to be some sort of record, surely. Anyway, The Twits. I do have vague memories of reading this book as a kid, but to be perfectly honest, I remember nothing. From what I've seen with discussion for the movie though, they have changed things considerably. For example, the main characters in the film who are orphans, they're non-existent in the book. To me though, this does make some sense. Often with these small books, you do have to expand on the narrative to make it flow better for a visual format. Also, Wes Anderson's Fantastic Mr. Fox is vastly different from the book, and yet that turned out to be one of my favourite movies of all time, so to me, I'm not concerned. I'm not sure that there's that many die-hard The Twits fans out there, so I assume this won't offend too many people, but you never know. The internet is a very vast place. Now that I have said that though, I have been scrolling along the comment section of the trailer, and the anger it included the orphans is getting more and more severe, with people claiming it ruins the story outright, so proves me wrong for speaking too soon, I suppose. Before I dive into trailer breakdowns, typically I'll delve into the movie's description, if there is one. Initially, I thought they'd only given us a one-sentence description, but at the very bottom there is another blurb. So far, the release of this trailer and the description feels very rushed, but I remain unperturbed. Only slightly annoyed more than anything else, however, I will persevere. The initial description read, "Once upon a time, there were two terrible twits, but now they've met their match." To me, this feels like a narrative opening line to the movie. Interestingly, it seems that is a significant possibility. When I first watched the trailer, the story had narration. I wonder whether that's going to carry on into the movie. From what I could tell, the narrator seems to be Emilia Clarke, but she also plays a character in the film. I suppose that doesn't discount her though. I mean, I still remember the reveal in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory where the movie had been narrated by an Oompa Loompa. That might not seem all that much these days, but my tiny kid mind thought it was the coolest reveal ever. So I suppose it could be something like that. You don't really have narration too often in movies, and so I kind of like to see it. When done well, it does make movies feel more fantastical. As for the initial tagline, the premise clearly shows the twits are going to have their karma catch up to them. Good. I do love a bit of schadenfreude when the person deserves it. The orphans are obviously going to be the ones responsible for the twits' downfall, as we learn in the second half of the description, which reads, "When the meanest, nastiest villains pull a trick to take over their town, two brave children team up with a family of magical animals to bring them down." So it seems that the twits have more on their agenda than just being horrible people. They seemingly want to take over the town for their own nefarious purposes. For what reasons? I'm not too sure. Maybe slavery? The prestige? It just does feel like a lot of effort for people who I expect are quite lazy. Being a villain's hard work, and I don't expect that these two would want to put in the effort of running their own hellish town, even if they were in charge of it. I can barely imagine them getting on with each other. Just seems like a terrible plan, but what do I know? Magical animals though, that intrigues me. I mean, of course, anything goes in these types of stories, and I'm not trying to argue logic about the existence of magical animals. It just seems like an interesting plot point when everything else feels more grounded and real. I think it's a sad state of affairs when two adults who are mean, evil, and power-hungry are battling it out with orphans, and that doesn't raise eyebrows, but the magical animals do. Since doing some more research, I found a more expansive description thanks to Netflix's Tadam website. Mr. and Mrs. Twit are the meanest, smelliest, nastiest people in the world, who also happen to own and operate the most disgusting, most dangerous, most idiotic amusement park in the world, Twitlandia. But when the Twits rise to power in their town, two brave orphans and a family of magical animals are forced to become as tricky as the Twits in order to save the city. A hysterically funny, wild ride of a film, chock full of the Twits' beloved tricks, from the wormy spaghetti to the dreaded shrinks, The Twits is also a story for our times about the never-ending battle between cruelty and empathy. You wonder why people would go to an amusement park if it was disgusting, dangerous, and idiotic, wouldn't you? I couldn't imagine going myself, but the Twits must have some business sense if they rise to power so easily. I like the tagline about the never-ending battle between cruelty and empathy because it says earlier on that the orphans will have to be as tricky as the Twits. I wonder if this movie's going to explore the concept of lowering yourself to other standards and whether that's the right thing to do, even if you're seemingly fighting for good. This description has intrigued me far more than I expected it to. Now I want to dive into the trailer Netflix released and see what we can figure out story-wise. We start off with the introduction of Mr. and Mrs. Twit, where Mrs. Twit supposedly serves up some new spaghetti for Mr. Twit. He eats it, only for her to later declare that he's eating worms. Solid start, I won't lie. That's absolutely horrific. I kind of love how cartoonishly awful they are. Obviously that's part and parcel of Roald Dahl literature, but it's still fun to see. The lure in that she did something super nice for him, calling him her quote-unquote special guy, is very funny too. It just shows how much these two loathe each other. Although at the same time, at this point, surely he should suspect something's off. I mean, if they hate each other so much, why would she all of a sudden prepare him some really nice meal? The only assumption is that they're also incredibly stupid, which would honestly be even more hilarious and unbelievable as to how they would have built a sustainable business with a terrible theme park. Perhaps their galaxy brain intelligence simply comes across as stupidity to us mere mortals, who knows? The only thing that could have made this scene better is for him to continue eating the worms much to her disgust. You just have to double down to win this, bro. It's the only way. The introduction goes further as Amelia Clarke introduces the Twits. We see them steal a liquid hot dog meat truck that has loads of pipes coming out of it. To me that seems suspicious. I mean, yeah, liquid hot dog meat's weird, but it is Roald Dahl. Even if it's not in the book, you could believe he wrote that. I mean, it's the fact that they're stealing a truck that's already hooked up to other parts of the city. I mean, who needs liquid hot dog meat pumped somewhere? So I'm suspecting that they set this up, pranked somebody with an influx of liquid hot dog meat, horrific, then they drive off in it. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they lived off this meat. Ugh, it would definitely be a fixture of Twitlandia, I tell you what. Even though it seems disgusting, I'm reminded of that Jamie Oliver TV show in the 2000s where he was trying to make hot lunches healthier in the UK, and in doing so, he showed the process of how to make a chicken nugget in the hopes of disgusting the kids. Only when he asked if they wanted one after all that, they immediately say yes. I mean, I'm not really lining up to drink the liquid hot dog meat, but it's still far better than the worm spaghetti, and I still like hot dogs. The next scene shows Mr. Twit having put a frog on Mrs. Twit while she's asleep, only for the frog to wake her with his tongue and stay attached while she tries to run away. Totally scary and gross, but do you know what's even more scary? A frog with teeth! Yikes! He also cuts a rope that has her tied to some helium balloon so she could fly away Aunt Marge style. Initially, I would have boiled this down to my assumption of his stupidity and that he was just trying to free her, but you can see the knowing look in his eyes. He's fully aware of what he's doing and is taking great pleasure in it. If that's the case though, how does she even get tied up like this without resistance? Do we think that maybe the orphans did it to punish them and then he decides to be extra cruel? Somehow, I actually believe that two small children and magical animals have a better chance of pulling this off than this fully grown man. So we learn that the Twits hate everything, especially each other. See, even Roald Dahl's universe seems better than ours, because this is clearly out of the ordinary. You only have to take a quick look online to see it isn't a rare sentiment to somehow hate your spouse. What's funny about this though is that there's a whole news report about how this adult couple have outright declared war on some orphan kids. Not only is it newsworthy, but it's so obvious that this is just a situation that is reported on, and no authority is going to be inclined to help them. The apathy is hilarious and also a little too real. Clearly, the Twits somehow recognize these kids are orphans. How would they know this? Beats me, kinda creepy though. They go to an orphanage looking for the kids, and the caretaker just lets them in. I'm sorry, but what exactly is the point of this guy's job if not to take care of the kids? They don't have the keys to the city. They're not the police with a warrant. You don't have to let them in. I would at least assume that this takes place before they get any real power, so I could be wrong in this, but even so, this guy's seriously gonna let these disgusting adults go look for the orphans for God knows what purpose? For shame. I mean, the kid screaming that they're all gonna die is played for dramatics, but honestly, I'm there with you, kid. I mean, this bozo downstairs would let in a murderer if they asked nicely. His anxiety is well-founded and realistic. A girl who's established as the main character matter-of-factly tells him that nobody's gonna die. Sure, keeping everybody calm is a good idea, but after taking a look at this orphanage's lack of security, I can't be so sure. She reassures another child, presumably her brother, that they're going to bring, quote-unquote, those jerks to justice. Fair enough, I wonder what they've done specifically to them. Could be anything, honestly. They don't seem the type to discriminate against who they inflict their pranks on. Seemingly, the Twits are accusing the children of stealing their muggle wumps. Was that it? I assume that this means they're blue-haired monkeys that we see in the next shot. I suppose that could be the reason the caretaker lets them into the orphanage, but still, it's weird he supposedly lets them roam free and search for the kids. Never a more accurate statement was made when Mrs. Twit called them his no-good children, and he responds with, "My what?" I'm telling you, at this rate, the Twits are not the villains of this movie. At best, they're the dodgy neighbours that live down the street who make very questionable choices. The real villain's the caretaker, who is inevitably going to be involved in a court case 5 years on from now, being charged with neglect and corrupt mishandling of childcare. The next scene had the Twits aiming a cannon of some description at the children's window. Whatever they shot at them, though, was far too soft to make any real impact. They're really that stupid, aren't they? Some adults are then holding the doors, I think, to the orphanage closed, but I can't be too sure. We have two scenarios here. Either they're working for the Twits and are trying to lock the children inside so something awful can happen to them, or the Twits have been trapped inside and they're trying to protect the kids. I'm leaning towards the second. Hopefully there are some competent adults in this movie. Bonus points if they adopt the boy and the girl at the end and take over Twitlandia to make it a far better amusement park whilst also keeping the magical animals. Oh, that has to be the ending, I'm sure of it. We see more of the assumed muggle wumps, with him vomiting up a sentient stress ball. I know that it's being played for laughs, but I'm just not vibing with this bit. Following that is a small clip of the caretaker running from some tsunami of pink sludge. I'm thinking that this might be the liquid hot dog meat. Justice. Well deserved. There's a few scenes quickly put together. The main kids have, I think, planned some trap for the Twits. The frog from earlier is also present. The girl blasts the Twits with a fire extinguisher on the front porch, alone. Good lord, I'm ready to string up that caretaker. What do you mean she's fighting grown adults by herself? I know there's probably other kids in the orphanage ready to go full Home Alone on these two, but seriously? Before you whine at me that it's semantics for the plot, yes, I am aware, but I still reserve the right to complain about dumb characters making dumb choices. So some bugs are telling the story. More specifically one with a child bug as the audience. I think that's Emilia Clarke there. So yes, it's a bit like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. We have a scene with the Twits smiling at each other and holding hands with the words that this is an emotionally complex story playing over the top. I'm feeling more confident in my predictions that whilst these two will be the bad guys, they won't really be villains and they'll have some sort of softer side presented. Oh, and the frog can talk too, that's cool, I guess. Does that mean he's magical as well? Then there's another scene of the Twits resting their heads together and watching some fireworks with pure joy in their eyes. The more this trailer goes on, the harder I'm finding it to actually hate them. The best joke is then delivered and really salvaged the humour in this trailer. Mr. Twit bends down and says, "Let me show you my diarrhea," only to present a small-scale figure of the amusement park Twitlandia. He's then corrected after some relief by other figures present that he meant diorama. Mr. Twit then seems offended as if he thought that she was calling his vision of Twitlandia shit, as I imagine that he's gotten the two words mixed up. I really hope there's more humour of this type in the film. I mean, they literally just stated the film's full of lowbrow humour. I enjoy those types of jokes quite a lot, as long as they're delivered well. It's all about the delivery. There is a big difference between lowbrow humour and low-quality humour, and we're currently at about 50-50 in the trailer, so we'll have to wait and see. I also hold very deep fears about this trailer having used the best jokes up. I'll never forget getting spammed with Deadpool trailers in 2016 and thinking that that film was going to be so funny, only for all the best jokes to have been used in the marketing. So I do have my hopes that this isn't the case here. In quick succession, we have Mrs. Twit launching Mr. Twit with her bare hands, a scene with the girl where she says she doesn't want to live in a world where hate wins, and I imagine that quote will be twofold. One where they don't want to let nasty, mean people get away with things, but also not allow them to corrupt you into doing reprehensible things in retaliation. Or at least I hope so, because I think that would be a really good story. The caretaker guy finally decides to stand his ground and protect the kids with cheese whiz. Is that what it's called? I'm not American, we don't really have that here. I am a bit confused here. Does he seriously have no better weapon than this? He's got kids in there! Unless he was literally just cooking with the kids and answered the door, it's another case of negligence. I've already been heavily skewed against this guy from his previous actions in the trailer, and so it's going to take a bit more than this to win me over. The scenes then finish up with an avalanche of stress-induced vomit balls from the magic monkeys, a scene with the kids riding their bikes with them and the Twits falling off to their probable demise in a vat of liquid hot dog meat whilst pushing each other out of the way, and I think it's safe to say that this is a very chaotic trailer. However, the more I watch, the more I'm kind of intrigued. I enjoyed the music, it felt very 2000s kids movie, which my nostalgia appreciates. The only negative I really have about the film is the animation style. It looks kind of creepy. I understand that it probably works tonally for the film that they're making, and I'm not opposed to a grungier look. I think the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film looks great. However, there's just something about this style that's unsettling to me. Even though it doesn't look all that similar, it's giving me Coraline vibes, and I don't like it. Some people might like that type of style. I'm not one of them. I'm not going to let that cloud my judgment on the entire movie though. Like I said, I'm still interested, and I'll definitely be sitting down to watch it. What about you though? Are you excited for the Twits? Maybe not. I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.